Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Educate, enlighten, and entertain. Extra, extra, read all about it. Special report on presidential deportations. For the last year and the first part of this year, all 2 months almost of it, deportations of immigrants have been happening under the current president. And while many people think it's good or bad, depending how one wants to look at it and think about it, you should know that the United States has been deporting immigrants for a long time. It's not anything new. A lot of current presidents have done that, especially our current president of today. And I thought I would remind you, in case you did not know that, or you have forgotten that from history class, that this is nothing new for the U.S. of A. So let's take a look at some of the stats and some of the material that concerns this. First thing you ought to know is that it started way earlier than the 21st century. So a basic timeline of the deportation policy within the U.S. 1798, Alien Enemies Act signed by John Adams allowed removal of foreign nationals during wartime. And let's face it, we were still fighting the Revolutionary War. And then in the 1800s to the 1920s, federal immigration system develops. The Chinese Exclusion Act and later laws create formal deportation procedures. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, large numbers of Mexican immigrants and Mexican Americans were removed or pressured to leave. 1954, Dwight D. Eisenhower, his administration launched a mass removal campaign at the southern border. 1986, Ronald Reagan signs Immigration Return, Reform, and Control Act, granted amnesty to millions, but enforcement under his rule was also expanded. 1996, Clinton-era laws broadened deportation rules and mandatory detention categories. 2000s, Bush administration increases enforcement after, you guessed it, September 11th. 2010, the Obama administration records some of the highest deportation totals. The current administration changes enforcement priorities and border policies. 2020s, our former president, Joe Biden administration continues enforcement with different prioritization guidelines. So you're saying to yourself, well, that's really nice, but who had the highest? Well, under Dwight D. Eisenhower from 1953 to 1961, the 1954 enforcement campaign, often called the Operation Wetback. Hundreds of thousands of removals and voluntary returns of Mexican nationals. Bill Clinton from 1993 to 2001. 1996, immigration laws expanded deportation categories. Deportations increased sharply toward the end of his administration. George W. Bush, 2001 to 2009. Enforcement expanded after 9/11. Removals rose steadily through the 2000s. Barack Obama, 2009 through 2017, often called, quote, the departer in chief, unquote, by critics because total removals were very high. More than 3 million removals during his presidency, though later years priority serious criminal cases. Our current president from 2017 to 2021, policies emphasized strict enforcement and border control. Total numbers were lower than Obama's peak years, but policies were more visible and widely debated. Joe Biden, 2021 to present. Deportations continue under existing immigration laws, and policies shifted towards prioritization certain cases rather than large-scale interior enforcement. And this is important for everyone to understand. Presidents do not personally deport people. Enforcement is carried out by federal agencies under laws passed by Congress. Every modern administration has enforced immigration laws in some way. So when you take a look or you read about what our current president is doing, please keep in mind that everything is relative. This is not anything new. It's been in effect in the US of A since the late 1700s, and that some presidents were more energetic about enforcing immigration than other presidents. So before you start pointing a finger and saying things, get your facts right. Thank you very much for joining us. Please go over to our website, passionateworldtalkradio.com/blog. Read the summary of today's show, listen to the podcast, and then click on the link that will take you to several articles where you can read the remainder of the story to solve your curiosity about presidential deportation of immigrants. Thank you, and let's hope the freeze is over for the time being.